Welcome back. This is our summer series, and we are back on Teacher Tuesday. And I have a treat for you, okay? I'm super excited because our summer series has been super instrumental in supporting so many different teachers. When I tell you, I have been receiving so much support as it pertains to veteran teachers, in addition to new teachers asking me questions, DMing me, asking me different questions of how to navigate, and I'm excited because we're just getting started. This summer series is about to close, and then we're going to get started with something new that I will share with you a little bit later on. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. But in the meantime, I definitely want you guys to just say a little hello in the chat. Say hey there, hey there. Are y'all there? I'm so excited. We have our last guest who is going to really bless us with some gems so we can add into our toolkit, because the key is we want everyone to bloom in their classroom. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in and give me a little shout out in the chat. Just go ahead and say, hey, hey there. Uh, Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Teacher Tuesday. And I look forward to looking at you guys' messages and really connecting with you, because we have a lot of impartation of wisdom and tidbits that you guys can use in your classroom. So go ahead and show me a little love in the chat. Let's see what you got. All right. All right. So for those of you who do not know, my name is Taji, and I am Taji, the teacher's teacher. And one thing I think is extremely important is for us to come together, collaborate, learn from one another. And I remember, and I would never want to forget my first year of teaching. And I definitely want to make sure that we're providing a sense of resource as we are getting into the upcoming school year. So today we're going to be crafting success, strategic planning for new teachers. Y'all, I'm telling you, it's so many moving pieces that's going on in that classroom at the same time. And strategy, do you hear me? All right, pre-planning is going to be essential to your practice. And I have the best person in the room to give you some insight, because guess what? She helped me. She helped me during my first year of teaching. She was my coach my first year of teaching. So I pulled out some gems, honey. I really reached into my repertoire and got some amazing people who can definitely help us bloom in our classrooms. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this party started. So, in case you guys didn't know, hi, I am Taji, the teacher's teacher, and I specialize in transforming complex content into clear and concise lessons, okay, and concepts. I help teachers, I help business owners deliver their messages in a clear and concise way. And it is my passion. It is my passion to make sure that all of your scholars, your audience, whoever you are serving, they are actually receiving the best that they can get from you. When you walk into that room, you own that room, and you're going to bloom in your classroom. And so that is my job, to help you to make sure that you are successful. And we're going to continue on with that initiative for today. So let's meet Miss Johnson. So before we get started, because this is this is my girl right here, okay? So before we get started, I just wanted to share with you that I started teaching, I want to say about a decade ago. And our school has so many different challenges going on at the time. And so I was still trying to figure it all out. However, I had some of the funniest, I can laugh at it now because I was crying then. But I had some of the funniest encounters, and I just remember Miss Johnson, her warm spirit, her sense of humor, her infectious laugh, her stopping by my classroom and always checking on me. Hey, girl, you good? You all right? or she'll stand shoulder to shoulder with me in front of the classroom and kind of just give me some good tidbits and how to make sure that the kids are entering into the room properly, or how to make sure that my lessons were pristine, how to ensure that my content delivery was sound. I mean, I would see her daily. I would see her between class periods. If she said that if I had a challenge with a particular classroom, she would come in and grab her phone and say, we're going to stop this right now. And let's address this because Miss Wright is here for you. And she had my back. And I definitely appreciate her support. I appreciate how she was consistent. And we just used to have the best belly aching laughs at the end of the day that boosted my spirits because I really needed that as a brand new teacher. And so I just want to introduce to you one of the gems, one of my peoples, one of the people who trained me into the conversation. I want to introduce to you Miss Johnson. Hey, Miss Johnson.
Hey, girl.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's so good to see you,
I
girl.
know. Good to
All right.
see you. Okay.
I know we had so not only did we work with each other that first year, but I think we ended up working with each other for about 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
whole
4 years.
situation. And so you were able to kind of see me grow
Yes. Mm-hmm.
from that, little, fresh out of college to trying to evolve into the field. And so I really appreciate you, and I know that this conversation is going to be like super enriching and like, just hey, the tidbits of wisdom that you're going to provide is going to be very helpful for a lot of teachers. So I'm super excited about the whole situation. All right. So go ahead and tell us, like, Miss J, what is your teacher story?
My story, I started teaching almost 30 years ago. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember the first year, I just felt like I think I had a mentor or I was assigned a mentor, but
Mm-hmm.
for some reason she kind of fell off, as the year went on. Probably by October, I felt like I was out there on my own,
Wow.
just trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I made it through that year, and then the next year they had a what they call a rift, where they
Mm-hmm.
would take the teachers out, and if because of I guess a student shortage or something. So anyway, I was placed into a new school, and then I'm so this is my second year teaching,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm floating. I was a floater,
Oh
which meant
wow.
I had a little cart, and I was pushing it from room to room.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, I was big and pregnant, and I'm pushing this cart, and for each class period, the bell changed. I'm in the hall with the kids trying to get to my next class,
Oh my.
and again, but I did have help then because the department chair at that time, she was supportive, and so she kind of she encouraged me. She gave me, trusted me,
Mm-hmm.
and gave me a lot of responsibility and stuff like that. So I started to grow, and I just reflected back on that as on that first year, and I thought that was the worst year. Teaching is hard anyway, but I was just
Right.
like, I will never let anyone go through that. So then, as the years went on, every new teacher that came in, I made sure that they knew me, that they knew that I was a resource, that they could come to me to
Mm-hmm.
vent, to ask questions, to help in any way, because I just felt like that first year is really, 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 really hard. But you need somebody that you can talk to, somebody to help you, and just some support throughout the year. So I just made that promise that I would always be that support to any new teacher that came
Yeah.
in by presence, and I still do that. That's still my philosophy. I still live by that,
And
helping
I
new
feel it too, because you are very adamant. Like you would come by that classroom and you'd
people.
be like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Miss Johnson. I'm gonna check on you. What do you need? What do you need, honey?"
Yeah, I used to keep all my old posters and stuff, and it's like, you need
Uh,
posters here. I got a box. See if you can find some posters that you can use and stuff. Because that first year they want you to decorate your room, and you
mhm.
thinking, my decorate. with what money?
Right.
You just starting, and then so I kept all of my old posters every time I bought posters and stuff, and so I just made sure to look through there and see if you can find anything to fit with your theme, anything that you
Mhm.
want, just take it and stuff. So, because that's that first week of school, they bring you in and they have you going through all those meetings, and then they say,
Mhm.
okay, you have a day and a half to get your room decorated, and you like, with what? And so
Yes.
that was something I always tried to help with.
And that's essential. That's essential. I remember like I started off trying to understand, like we taught science, and so you have been in the content for so long, and you were trying to kind of help guide me through understanding the content
Right.
and the pacing. And Lord, at one point, I thought it was okay to go and find random worksheets online and print them off, but it was you who kind of told me how to the science behind the teaching and how to pre-plan from the moment the kids come into the room to actually getting into the actual lesson and the
Mm.
content of the lesson. Can you kind of guide us through why is it so important to kind of like prepare from the moment the kids enter to the room up until you actually start the lesson?
Well, it really starts with the lesson plan,
Okay.
and that's overwhelming. When
Mm-hmm.
they ask you to write a lesson plan, they give you this worksheet. I mean, fill in all the boxes, and we get into the habit, of just filling in the boxes. But over the years, I found that when you really um, plan, it just makes your life a whole lot easier. So fill
Mm-hmm.
in the boxes, but at the same time, start creating your lesson over here. So in other words, if you say the kids are going to do this worksheet, find the worksheet, pull it up, already have it ready.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go ahead and find it. If you say the students are going to answer these questions because they want you to come up with higher order thinking questions. And
Mm-hmm.
so go ahead and start asking the questions as you work through the worksheet or you work through your PowerPoint, embed those questions in. And the reason I say to do that is so you already know where you're trying to take the students. So when something
Mm-hmm.
unexpected happen, then you're able to oh, what happened? I lost my okay, something
Are you
popped up on
good?
the
Yeah.
screen. But okay, whenever something is unexpected happen, if you already have everything embedded in your lesson, then it's going to, you can deal with that situation, but not lose focus or lose your where you're trying to get the kids to go. If that makes sense.
I
Does
got you.
that
I got you.
make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. And that
And
brings us to, oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Michelle.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that so kind of like understanding because it'd be a lot going on in that whole
Mm-hmm.
environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might have Cletus over here who done threw some across the room, or they coming in jumping all hard, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have in the middle of your lesson somebody fall out their desk, and you just have all these random things because
Mm-hmm.
kids be kidding, okay? They be just
Mm-hmm.
doing the most sometimes. And so I can only imagine like all the variations of distraction because I even got to the point where sometimes I could even do the attendance
Mm-hmm.
because I was just really just trying to address all the nuances of a classroom. How can a new teacher be so strategic and to pre-plan to avoid all of those things, to take less stress off of their plate, take less off of their plate? How can they what things can they implement into the classroom that can kind of help them relieve them of stress?
Well, the first thing I think is to have, like I said, if we talk about worksheets or activities and stuff, I used to have a table by my
Hmm.
door. So
Hmm.
when the kids walked in, they knew to pick up all everything that they needed, everything that they were going to use for that class period that day, they knew to pick it up. If homework was due, they knew turn it in when they walk in. And the other biggest thing is to have a bell ringer, an activity for them to start on as soon as they walk in, because that
Hmm.
gives you time. And then it really, for me, I really enforce that. Come in, get started on your your bell ringer, because that's going to give me time. It's going to give me time to see if it's something wrong with somebody. If somebody's upset, that's going to give me time to deal with that student. That's going to give me time to take attendance, just and then have that timer. The timer, that's my best friend.
Yes.
When you have a timer and you time those kids, it keeps you on track as well as the students.
Mm-hmm.
If you say you have 5 minutes to do this, then if they have 5 minutes, you have 5 minutes too. you
Yes.
know and
Yes.
so it helps you to just stay on track. And for me, it helps me to stop talking and allow the students to, because I've given them 5 minutes, so I
Mhm.
can't talk through those 5 minutes, to do whatever they need to do. And so now I'm thinking and I'm preparing and I'm getting ready for the next step, because that
Mhm.
timer is going to keep me on track as well
Mhm.
as keeping the students on track. And they know you mean business, because when the 5 minutes are up, and you can embed it in your PowerPoint.
Mhm.
You can actually embed the timer. That once I learned that, that was just like gold. Before then, I used to have my little wind up timer. Yes.
I know that little wind up timer, that ding,
Yes, I used to
Yes.
have that, but now, with all this technology, it's really, really easy to have your timer, and you can let the students know at the very beginning. You don't have 10 minutes to do this part. You don't have 15 minutes to do it.
Mhm.
And you can just go from there.
That's good. I like how you said that. Like the moment they walk in, they know to go ahead and grab the items that they need. So you're already setting the routine,
Hmm.
and that routine had to be in place. When do you actually teach them that routine?
Now you start that day one. You
Mhm.
start that, and you started. You for me, have it there. Just started. What is it? Modeling, like from the very beginning. Like when they
Mhm.
come in, pick up the paper for day one. Pick up the paper on the table and your pencil and have a seat. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Day one.
Mhm.
So then now they know. So it's just part of the practice. You just
Mhm.
start off day one telling them how. Even if they just picking up a blank sheet of notebook paper, you
Right.
know, today and on day one, because and day two they might pick up another blank sheet of notebook paper, and they're going to use it,
Yeah.
for something. But and then some days it may be a worksheet, but they know to look at that table when they
Mhm.
walk in, or they know to look at that spot, wherever you decide in the classroom. They know automatically to look to see if it's something there. And then if you already have the assignment on the board when they
Mhm.
walk in. So now they know to do something with this paper because it's written on the board. They already know what to do. And
That's good.
then they come in, and so some of the students are going to come in and start. They're going to look up there and they're going to read it, and they start working. And then some students, you might, you see that, go ahead and start working. Just point
Mhm.
because it's there.
I like that, and you taught me that because I noticed that the days that I had it ready,
Mhm.
they were smooth.
Mhm.
And the days that I was running behind or had a terrible morning or got caught up in traffic and didn't put the papers where they need to be, uh, bombs over Baghdad. Okay, the
Mhm.
kids was acting a fool. All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
only because they were so accustomed to that routine to where it held me accountable to making sure that I was keeping them on track. And so they would ask, "Where are our papers?" or "What's
Mhm.
going on?" And
Mhm.
they would check you and
Mhm.
make and hold you accountable to those expectations. And so,
Right, right. And then I learned I had to finally train myself to do it at the end of the day, because
hmm
you never know what your morning is going to be like.
hmm
So at the end of the day, after the students are gone and you've had a little chance to debrief, then go ahead and write your board.
hmm
Go ahead and get your papers, you know, print it, have them already, have them out. Go ahead and put them on the table. It makes life a whole lot easier. So as often as you can already do that stuff the night before, the day before you leave, so when you come in, you might be running late. You know, you already have it done. So I had to train myself to do it at the
hmm
end of the day instead of trying to do everything when I first come in, because I
Yeah,
wasn't gonna make it.
that's
Mhm.
good. So let's get into this instruction because I know that this was very helpful as it pertains to why is pre-planning important for new teachers as it pertains to the instructional element. Because we talked about when they first come into the room, how to get them started and setting the routine. But what about the instructional element?
You froze. You
Can you hear
froze.
me there? Are you good?
No, you froze up. Okay.
Okay. All right. So are we here? Are we clear?
Mhm.
Okay. So now that we've had the opportunity to talk about the routines and how to get them started when they come inside the classroom, and how to pick up the papers and all those different things. So now let's get into what does it look like as it pertains to instruction. Why is pre-planning so important as it pertains to instruction?
So it helps you because you trying to get the kids. You want to know. You want them to master a certain thing, and
Mm-hmm.
so if you plan ahead of time, then you know where you're taking the students, and
Mm-hmm.
so. Um, I like to go ahead, and if you're having a quiz or a daily quiz or a daily check for understanding questions, so you embed those check for understanding questions in because you're trying to get the students to a certain point of mastery.
Mm-hmm.
And so pre-planning is going to help you stay stay in alignment with your content, with what you're trying, with the curriculum and what you're trying to teach them, and uh, not waste a whole lot of time. Because sometimes if you don't plan, then you just have a lot of filler activities that are not hitting the mark.
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, those filler activities and all those distraction points, I did it and it kind of worked at the beginning, but it does not necessarily mean that I was being effective as a teacher. Yeah.
Because you want the best instruction the first time,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so if you think about the questions that the what they need to be able to answer at the end, then everything that you plan should lead them to be able to answer those questions at the end. You
Mm-hmm.
have two or three closer questions. They have a lot of different names for them, but at the bottom, at the end of the day, this is what I want the students to learn from from this activities or from these activities that we're doing today, and they should be able to answer this question, and that question. And so everything that you're planning to get them to success, to be able to answer those questions. So if you don't know what those questions are in the beginning, then you can't take the kids there. You know, if you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, and then all of a sudden you give them some questions that you think, oh, they should have got this, they should have got that. I
Yes.
talked about this, but no. I remember I used to tell the kids at the end of the class period, you will be able to tell me uh,
Yes.
this, and you will be able to tell me. You tell them that they're gonna know this, and then you tell them what they need to know, and then you tell them you know it. See, you know what I mean. So you just keep giving them the same information. Now you know this, and so then you ask them, and then they know it. But if you tell them at the beginning, I I just come up with a topic. You'll be able to tell me the three types of plate boundaries.
Right.
At the end of this lesson, you are going to tell me what are name the three types of plate boundaries and tell me how they affect land features. And
That's
then you
good.
tell them. And then at the end, they know. And then you ask them. So now the whole lesson is geared towards those questions that you're going to ask them at the end of the lesson to stay focused so that you're not all over the place.
Right. So if you pull in a resource from over here and a resource over here, and then you're doing all of this, it may not even have the alignment that it needs for the kids to be able to answer the questions that you already asked them at the beginning of the class.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So what
you
about
want to, I was going to say, you just want to pull all the lessons that's going to, what are the three types of land boundaries, plate boundaries? What are the land features?
Mhm.
And all of those activities should tie in to what you, that question at the end. And so the students should, instead of just saying, because, we might start talking about Pangea, or we might start talking
Mhm.
about something else. It's interesting, but it's not talking about the boundaries,
Mhm.
and it's not showing them what the boundaries are, and it's not telling them how those boundaries affect the land features. What are the land features? You got to show them and tell them. So you just guide them to where you want them to go. And pre-planning is going to get you there. So because you're going to look for the materials that's going to answer, like, so you write the questions ahead of time, and then you say, will this activity help them answer this question? Will
That's good.
this activity help them answer this question?
Yes.
You know, and so that's why you want to pre-plan, so that
Mhm.
you really, just so that you can stay in alignment and not waste a lot of time. Because if you do it the other way and they take the test and then they get it wrong,
Surprise.
now you got to go back and reteach it.
Yeah.
You got to go back. So now you're running out of time because you have to go back and reteach it because they didn't get it. So try to get them to get it the first time. That's our goal. Try to have our best instruction the first time.
That's good. What about the teachers who have those lessons already pre-planned for them? How can they, if they're just given like, here is your lesson, here is your PowerPoint, go.
If you still have to go in and tweak that PowerPoint, make it sound like
Mm-hmm.
take out what you want to take out, add what you want to add. It's very important to personalize those PowerPoints, so that if you don't understand it, you're not going to get the students to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to, study the PowerPoint ahead of time so that and create. I still say create your own questions, your own check for understanding questions that you can put in there, just embed
Mm-hmm.
in there and stuff. So if you start creating your own questions, then you'll see if the PowerPoint, that whatever that slide is, if that's going to help you get to where you need to get, or you need to add something to get them. A lot of times, if they're giving you the lesson, the PowerPoint, they're giving you the test questions too.
Correct.
They're giving you
Mm-hmm.
the questions. So look at those questions and make sure that that lesson that they've given you can answer those questions. And I remember we used to have, remember you guys used to have to take the test first
Yes.
before you even did the lesson. You had to take the test
Yes.
because you start asking yourself, what do they need to know in order to
Mm-hmm.
answer this question? And if it's something in that lesson, then you'll say, oh, that's why they put this in this lesson, because they need this slide. This slide is going to help them answer questions 2, 3, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then you say, we still didn't get 4. If that's not in there, then you can add. Just because they give you a lesson doesn't mean you can't add information to it to make sure that the kids can get all the content, get to the final answer, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And what you meant by that in terms of like, if you have 5 questions on the exit ticket
Mm-hmm.
or the DOL, and you can have components in the lesson that only addresses questions 1, 2, and 3,
Mm-hmm.
then you take it upon yourself to make sure that you have information in that PowerPoint that's going to address 4 and 5 too,
Right.
in the
Right.
clear and concise way. And
Mm-hmm.
when I tell you that's a game changer, that
Mm-hmm.
alignment and doing that and
Yes.
working it out and creating it ahead of time helps so
Yes.
much with your pre-planning and
Mm-hmm.
seeing like, okay, how does this student learn? How will my am I going to have
Mhm.
visuals in my lesson that
Mhm.
support my English language learners
Mhm.
or emerging bilinguals? Am I
Mhm.
going to have a tactile for my ADHD
Mhm.
kids?
Mhm.
That's going to help them address it. And so, all of which I've learned that from you in terms of like how to navigate those lessons and how to
Mhm.
make sure it all comes together. And it's a science.
Yeah.
Teaching is a science.
Yeah.
It is
And
definitely.
you definitely do need to think about those students that pop up in your mind. There's certain students that are going to pop up in your mind. The ones that are going to ask these questions,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they have questions. So you want to make sure that you address those questions. You'll get to know those students. And so you definitely want to try to address those questions that they'll have beforehand.
And yeah, you know I'm quick.
Hmm. You know who they are, you know.
Yes, and the best teachers, they kind of just learn the climate in the room, right? What about like if the plan doesn't work?
If a plan doesn't work, it's okay. Do it
Mm-hmm.
again. Try another one. you know,
Oh,
if the plan, I mean, you, if it doesn't work, ask yourself what didn't work, what part worked, and don't forget your peers, your colleagues,
mm-hmm.
and to ask them what worked for you. How did you do this? Or how did you approach this? Because that's a good reason. Your colleagues will help you, and then just come back and reteach it. If it didn't work, then just you know what you got to do. You know what part worked and what part didn't work.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So
And you're right. Those hallway chats always help. Like, hey, what do I need to do? And then the lesson that I initially planned for first period is going to be almost a little different by the time
yeah.
you get to your fifth period
Oh
class.
yes, that's what definitely. And
Yeah.
that's it. You step out in the hall and you just breathe and you say, and especially if you have someone that's did that work for you? How did they do? And da da da. And so you do have to adjust.
Hmm.
You have to adjust as you go and stuff. And then and sometimes in the middle of the lesson you may figure out, okay, I thought it was gonna go this way, y'all, but we're gonna have to we're gonna have to revamp and we're gonna have to change something and come back. So, because you are asking the kids, you are feeding off of the kids,
Right.
and the questions that they're asking you. So, yeah,
That's good.
you
And
know.
so I really appreciate you just sharing why the pre-planning phase is so important. And so, Ms. Johnson, do you happen to have like an additional advice that you want to share to our new teachers, just encouraging for the upcoming school year, and then like just giving them additional tidbits about why pre-planning can help them relieve so much stress?
No, I think the your first year you go in, um, you get to know your colleagues. Like I said, you talk to people because so that you can have somebody to bounce ideas off of. I think that's very important to have build your support when you walk in the door.
Mhm.
Find out who you can go to. Plan as much as you can. Write the lesson. Try to embed your questions, your activities. Try to have everything as much as possible. um, I remember back in the day when we used to, at the end of the year, we
Mhm.
would have to reflect on our teaching for the
Mhm.
year and
Mhm.
what worked and what didn't work. All I can tell you is the first year, go in and do the very best you can.
Mhm.
Remember, I used to teach the students as best you can.
Yes.
Teach the students and keep them first. Teach the students, and then at the end of the year, when you have that reflection time, you think about everything that worked and you think about that one thing that just drove you crazy by the end of the year, because after spring break it's a whole new beast. And so after spring break the kids are just, so whatever it is at the end of the year that just absolutely will push your buttons and drive you crazy,
Yeah.
just know the next year you're going to address that at the
Mhm.
beginning and get a handle on that at the beginning. And each year it just gets a little bit easier, you
Yeah.
know. But just make sure you take the time to reflect on
Mhm.
what worked and what didn't work, and then address it. But this year, go in, find your support plan. It is writing, learning how to write a lesson plan is hard because they ask for all this other stuff to fill in. And don't look at it as you're just checking a box. You're just
Mhm.
meeting the deadline. You're just being compliant. You know, the lesson plan is going to be your foundation, and
Mhm.
it's going to help you to move the students,
Mhm.
which is what you want to do. You know, you want to move the students. You want the students to grow. You want the students to reach mastery. So the lesson plan is what's going to help you. Write it, you know, plan your activities as much as you can, and it's going to help with discipline as well. Having a
Mhm.
good lesson plan and knowing your next step and your next step and your next step is going to help you with discipline, relieve a lot of stress. Even though it's a lot of stress on the front end, on the back end, when you're in that classroom, it's
Yeah.
less stress.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's good. Thank you for sharing that. Man, I really appreciate you for just, providing those good sound tidbits of just saying, you know what, you're going to teach the best you can
Yes.
and pre-plan as much as you can,
Mhm.
whatever you can control,
Yes.
because there may be other elements that's going on in the classroom that you cannot control.
Right.
However, a tightly planned lessons and good systems is going to
Mhm.
help relieve
Mhm.
release yourself from a lot of stress. And so,
Mhm.
absolutely, that's good. I also
Thank
want
you.
to share with everyone just a few things that we have coming up. So before we get started, before I just share these resources, I want to just thank Miss Johnson for just again just giving us all the little things that we need and the encouragement that we need as we are preparing for the upcoming school year. Okay. I also want to share just a really quick resource to you guys. So remember that we do still have the resources here available for a supply list. So you're creating a welcoming center. You're inviting people into your room and open to feedback. And the best instructors are the ones who are open to feedback. And so why not create a space in your classroom where people can, your administrator, your coach, just like Miss Johnson was my coach at the moment, where she was able to come in, grab whatever resources that we were discussing for that day, had a scholar greet her as once she entered the room, and then any feedback that she had for me. You can write it down on one of the feedback cards and leave in the back of the room. And at the end of the day, or at the end of that class period, I'll see what did I do well, what was a glow, and what did not do well, what was a grow opportunity. I'm telling you, the more malleable you are and open-minded to that feedback is going to help you so much. And so that
Mhm.
is a resource. I'll make sure that I put the link in the chat. All I'm asking is for your email and your name so that we can keep you and add you into the Taji, the Teachers community. Okay. But then this is a great way to just start that process of your growing. Okay. And receiving feedback. In addition to that, what we have coming up next, I'm super, super excited because this is an opportunity for everyone to start on the Smart Start Bootcamp for teachers. Okay. So if you want to learn how to engage your scholars on day one, if you want to make sure that you have the sharpest and the smoothest first 10 minutes of your classroom, this is an opportunity for you guys to truly use this as a time to a virtual planning session with me so that I can help guide you through of having that smart start at the top of your classroom. Okay. You can register on tajiteaches.com /boot camp. But this boot camp is specifically for teachers or large groups of teachers who are interested in making sure that you have the smartest start to your school year. Because let me tell you, you can reset, but if you start strong and you make sure that your systems are taught starting day one, as Ms. Johnson was teaching, and you are able to truly connect the routines of your classroom to the organization, you're organizing your classroom based on your routines, and you're doing your parent communication in an effective way, and you have a strong 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes is going to help you have a stress-free environment. Okay, so if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome to join the Smart Start Bootcamp at tajiteaches.com /bootcamp. We do have two phases. We have our first phase for August 1st and 8th for teachers who want to really start with their PowerPoint and how they're going to get their routine started. And then we have our second phase in September the 5th and September the 12th. So again, this is an amazing opportunity. If that's something you're interested in, we're definitely going to be sharing more information about that. Okay. All right, my lovelies. I hope that you guys had an amazing encounter with Miss Johnson. And I hope that this was extremely knowledgeable for you and that you were able to put something into your teacher toolkit. And we definitely got to stay connected. All right. For sure, Miss J, how are people able to stay connected with you?
Well, my email is paulajohn230 at yahoo.com.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
you can email me and have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them.
Sounds
Yes.
good. Sounds good. And Miss Johnson, like I said, she is an amazing resource to have and a great a great person to add into your community. Okay. Again, Taji the Teacher's Teacher. We are on Facebook. We are also on YouTube where we have the replay. In addition to that, you are more than welcome to visit tajiteaches.com resources or tajiteaches.com boot camp, and we do have our replay page. So again, if you missed anything, you're more than welcome to revisit those resources, and I'll drop all of those things in the chat. We are also building our Instagram community, okay? Which I'm super excited about that. But most importantly, I am excited to continue to support you in this journey. I am excited to continue to give you all the things that you need to add into your teacher toolkit, and even more excited to see you bloom in your classroom. Okay. So, again, I'm so grateful for you guys for supporting the summer series. And next week, we're going to have we're going to continue on with Teacher Tuesday and have a little preview of what the boot camp can look like for you. All right, my lovelies. I hope you guys had an amazing day. Thank you so much to Miss Johnson, and I hope to see you bloom in your classroom. Have a great day.